do tab. How do we? Okay. Now
Q&A. Opening Q&A. All right. Sam, will you put the link in the thread?
In this thread here?
There's one where I announced the webinar or the hangout.
Okay, yeah.
Just scroll through. There we go. And at mention everyone.
Okay.
We'll see if people join. Oh, yay.
That's fine. I feel like maybe we link this as a normal hangout.
Yeah.
Because we did the public thing. Everyone joins that and not that.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not normal hangout. It's hangout on here.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to join it, so hang out on there.
So when you click there, it works.
Yeah.
You join and and also be a teacher.
Did you post it?
I'm about to. I'm just going to check that this does what we want. You're about to join a hangout on air.
And you have Q&A access. Yeah, okay. So you joined the normal hangout there, but I think that's good to so. Yes.
Come on, Google, be nice. Should I post this now, Jenna, or not?
Yes.
I'm a bit worried everyone's going to join not the hangout and how they're going to join the hangout. Makes sense?
No, it's only one type of thing. Right? Like that was, I joined a hangout on air.
And why did your video? Let's go back to the camp. Oh, yeah.
Hello. Okay. We have a few people joining.
Okay. Yeah,
Yay. That's okay. Okay. So, if you have any questions, we post them in the Q&A. We finally figured out that it's not the group chat.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you for telling us.
Right.
But that we had to click on the Q&A button instead. So, Brandon, yes.
Oh my gosh, again, I have tackled that a lot in this competition. I just hope I can come up with yeah, 30.
Cool. So, let's wait for some questions, shall we?
Yes. But I think now people might not have access to the Q&A.
Why?
I think now, because...
Oh, group chat. Everyone hit mute as you join, so you don't... Okay.
Can we post docs in Class Story? Not in the very first version,
Straight up.
but straight after that. What we like to do, as I think Sam might have posted in a group, did you say this?
Yeah, I think I said.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, we always like to kind of release the core of something and then very, very quickly release the rest of it. So, yeah, we're going to come out with something. What's in the first version? I mean, just photos, text. Then we're going to add docs and everything else that you might want. So.
Yeah, and we saw some of the other questions. It's going to be in your ClassDojo app, so it won't be a separate app. It's part of the normal ClassDojo app. Every class will have its own story, and it will be entirely under your control. You can control when you share and how often you share.
Mm-hmm. And Brandon says he's scrapping his class website for privacy reasons. That's a great reason to use this instead. It's definitely a lot more private, a lot less of a public kind of place. So
Christine's saying she has several classes as a SPED teacher. can I post to multiple class stories at once?
Ooh.
So not in the first version, but you will be able to
Brandon, will parents be able to comment on the posts? No. They will be able to reply to you on an individual level, but we kind of wanted to see what would, how it would work at first. They can like posts. They can't kind of have a big comment thread on the bottom of something that you post. We wanted to first of all, try that out and maybe give you that option in the future. But at first, they can reply to you with questions. Just avoid a sort of free-for-all pylon,
Yeah, so on the story, it's just teachers posting,
Yeah.
and parents can like things. And then separately, if parents want a private message with you, that's for private conversations, one-on-one.
Yeah.
But that's not part of the story. Let's see this question. I have a teacher's child. She has her class registered under the same email she wanted to use as a parent. Is there a way around that?
There are some ways around that. I think if we could, if she could email our support team at hello@classdojo.com. I think they can find her a way around that. So we don't directly allow the exact same email, but I'm pretty sure if she uses Gmail or something similar, we can make that work. What's the best way to introduce class story to parents?
So we're going to make a web page which explains what the class story is. We'll be sure to share that with you. But if there are other things that you'd like us to, for example, if you want like a PDF, a handout, something for back to school night, just let us know. Just ping us in the mentor community group or email us at mentors@classdojo.com, and we can make some of the things that you need. So Lisa, you should let us know what you want.
I have an idea. I'm thinking of how I would introduce class story to my parents, and if you already have parents connected, then they'll see the class story thread from the parent app already. And so they'll have something that sort of explains what class story is, but to introduce it, it'd be really cute if you were to maybe like write something up on your whiteboard or whatever you have in your classroom to write on, and you could say like follow along with our class story. You could write it really big, and all your students can like stand around it, and you can take a photo of your students in your class and send it out, and then possibly follow up with like a text post instead of a photo post that says, this is class story, I'm going to be posting things like this, sharing moments from class, and I'm really excited for you to follow along, or whatever it is. It's probably a good way to get it going.
And there's just to jump on that, there's a few resources you can get. I think we've posted these already. I'm just typing in the link for you. .com/resources. A bunch of free resources for back to school night, other teachers. Ollie's on.
Super excited that I got on the chat now. Honestly, I don't know how I got. Yeah, we don't really know what's going on either, so we're with you on that. Let's see. Holly said, I was trying to incorporate whole brain teaching. I have a scoreboard avatar. Is there a way to have a different sound for a particular icon or a double ding, double negative? I am trying to make ClassDojo the only system, but a unique sound would be helpful for the scoreboard. Yeah, someone actually mentioned this who has a vision impaired class because they can't see what behavior they're being awarded. They requested having different sounds. I think the auditory notification would be pretty cool to be able to differentiate between what sort of feedback you're giving. Right now we don't have different sounds. We just have the one sound for positive, one sound for negative, but it's definitely a good idea. And you're sharing it with the right people. So thank you. We'll definitely talk to our product team about it and see what we can do. We finally have a chat. I have a question.
Yeah, and this.
Oh. Hi, Victoria. Oh, Jenna. Nice name. It's my name too. Is point value of 0 coming soon? This is definitely a highly requested feature. We've had everyone share how they would use a neutral point, meaning you wouldn't get a positive, you wouldn't get a negative for it. Most teachers have shared that they would use it to track things that they didn't necessarily want to take off points for. A lot of people mentioned like going to the bathroom or something like that. It would be a really good way to track things like that. So yes, we hear you, and we definitely we want to build everything for you.
We'll do that soon.
Yeah. Planning on doing it soon. Anytime you have suggestions, this is a great forum for it, or just in the mentor community. Honestly, every time you do post something, it really is shared. We are real people. Any other questions? I love the idea kindergartens cry easily.
Yep.
Yeah. What are some other questions you guys have about class story, about using groups, about parents? Instead of wiping individual students clean, like to a 0, can we deduct? Yes, this is another highly requested feature. So if I hear you correctly, it is you want to take away a certain amount of points from a student, like a custom amount of points perhaps, without actually awarding them negative points.
Maybe
right? So we have heard this a lot from all of you. I definitely use this in my classroom as well. For example, if students hit a certain amount of points and they wanted to have a class mini party or whatever it was, we would then take away a certain amount of points. But unfortunately, that results in giving red negative points. So we totally hear you. We understand. We are planning on building this eventually. Just a matter of timing. But keep poking us. Keep telling us what you want because we really want to make you happy, make your lives easier. So if that's what you want, just keep reminding us, and we'll keep bringing it up with the product team.
Yeah.
The only feature is what is something
yeah.
school for
We
adopting.
can do it soon. Yeah.
Any other questions? I love that you're free. I fear that will change. Is the plan to stay free?
Yes.
Yes.
Class Dojo is always going to be free for teachers and for parents and kids to use too. We think in the future we might make some premium features either for schools or for parents, but it's always going to be free for teachers.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're already paying for way too much out of pocket. You shouldn't have to pay for class Dojo. I love seeing people joining from around the world, by the way. I see someone here from the UK. I see Nigel here from Ireland. What's up, Nigel? Very cool. How different is class story? Different from the all-class messaging?
Initially it's similar, and we've just added a little bit more onto it. So it will replace your broadcast messages. It's kind of a lot of the feedback that we heard from teachers was that broadcast messages were too similar to private messages, and that got really confusing. So we wanted to make something that was more public to the whole class and yet private from the world, and something that also allowed a bit more engagement from parents, so that allowing parents to like the posts and so on. So initially, class story is just a little bit more of an engaging way for you to share with parents. But we're going to use it to build on the other features that we talked about, things like posting docs and other stuff. Anything that's for your whole class.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe one of the most exciting things about it, when you see it, I think this will become more obvious, but it's really, I think, one of the first ways that you can completely build the story of your classroom without doing any work at all. So you'll get this beautiful kind of timeline of everything that's happened in your classroom. So you can go back. It's almost like, think of it as like a portfolio for your whole classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other things that you can imagine you can build on top of that. Right? Maybe there's portfolios for individual students. Maybe there's there's more features that may come down the line. I won't ruin all the surprises. But you can think about that. It's this beautiful visual story of everything that's happened in your classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose exactly how and if you want to share it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really cool if you could comment sharing how you do see yourself using class story. I know that we all have an idea of how you would use it, but it'd be really neat to see your ideas and what you envision yourself posting to the class story.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and post that if you'd like.
Jennifer, parents can respond, but initially only privately to you, so you won't see like a comment thread on the stuff that you post.
Mm-hmm.
I think we missed Holly's question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I might be doing it wrong, but is there a way to see the table points from the previous week? It seemed to reset, but I groups.
Yeah, I don't think you can see table points. If you reset the table points, I don't think you can see them yet. But that's certainly something that we could look into building. Holly, why don't you drop us a note on mentors@classdojo.com, and we can look into exactly what would be most helpful. Let's see. Nigel says, I might have missed it if it was mentioned earlier, but what happens at the end of the year? Are class stories archived or exportable? Good question. No, we haven't got to the end of the school year with the class story yet, so we don't know. But if you've got thoughts on how you'd want it to work, maybe you can make them into a yearbook. Maybe you can download it and share it with your school, for example. I don't know. Like we're very open to ideas. What would be best? What would you think would be best?
Yeah, Nigel, go ahead and share that whenever you have a chance. Sorry. I'm on the PBIS committee at my school. Another concern about using ClassDojo school-wide.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean that's what we hope that the part of the reason for calling it a class story versus anything else is that we do want it to feel like the story of your classroom, feel like the kind of thing where at the end of the year it would be something to really look back on, and it would just be something really lovely for parents and kids to look at the end of the year. So, yeah, that's the direction we want to go, Nigel.
And then on this question here, this was from Victoria. She says, I'm on the PBIS committee at my school. By the way, we love PBIS. Lots of schools use it with ClassDojo. It's great. She says, a concern about using ClassDojo school-wide was trying to incorporate elective teachers who don't have time to be on a device to give these feedback points, like physical education teachers. Any suggestions I can take back to my committee? Now, I know there's a lot of elective ClassDojo mentors, so I'm hopeful that you can help.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've seen is sometimes those elective teachers will give one of the students control of the phone or the tablet and ask them to be kind of the ClassDojo monitor for that class. But I'm sure there's like far better ideas in the mentor community. Victoria, it might be the kind of thing that you want to ask in the Facebook group and ask some of the other mentors to give you some inspiration.
I know a lot of PE teachers that use ClassDojo and they have an iPad they just walk around with, or they just pop out their cell phone and they award points that way. Another thing that some people do if the mobile device is a problem and they can't have something in their phone, I know a lot of teachers actually have physical cards that they'll hand out to kids, and they'll like collect them at the end to award points after class. It's a bit more time consuming, so I would definitely suggest using the mobile app, but that's an easy workaround if that's a better option for the particular teacher. Let's see. Oh, update parents on classroom.
Well, let's
oh, cool. Awesome ideas from Jennifer of what she would share on the class story. So classroom happenings, reminders about homework or tests, sharing that you need to rethink your 6th grade yearbook, and exporting the class story would be great. Totally would be great.
What's Brendan saying here? He says he's excited. I'm excited for posting photos that I take on a weekly basis, i.e. field trips, special events, reminders for parents to bring things in, sharing achievements in school events. I work in an inner city school where it's quite difficult to get parent involvement. I think this will help get parents aware and involved. We hope so.
Yeah, because also if parents don't have time to maybe message with you, it's very easy to check the class story, right? So even if that one-to-one, maybe you're not getting the response you'd like, it's a really good way to like slowly open up that relationship with parents. They can sort of lurk on what's happening and just give you a like. I think that's a really good first step in building the relationship with them.
So Victoria says, you could export the class story and use it as an electronic portfolio to support what you've done over the year, like, for example, for SMART goals. That's great. I think that's a wonderful idea. Like, I think it is very cool that you could create this like class-wide digital portfolio. And I'd love to hear, actually, maybe here or later, about how else you think that could be useful. Like, should we do more for individual students? Should we maybe even share the class story with students? I don't know. Like, there's lots of ideas, lots of ways it could go. But we'll look to you for advice.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool. Really good ideas from Holly.
Yep.
of how she would use the class story.
Particularly like that she said one of her favourite things to do with private messaging is to show parents when a student gets a great score on a test, and she takes a photo and sends it to them right on the spot. And that's a big part of what we, would love people to use the class story for is actually sort of in the moment stuff, like like things where you don't have to think about it later because you just capture it in the moment, and then you don't have to sit down and think, okay, which great moments am I going to remember to share later on, because by then it may be just a bit too much work to get around to that.
Totally. Also, if you give group points, I'm just thinking of how you could use the new groups feature with class story. If you give table points throughout the day, it would be really cool way to incorporate the two of them would be whatever table you were like super proud of that day or like exceeded expectations. You could like snap a photo of them and post that to the wall or to the story. So I think it would be really cool for parents to see like, oh yeah, my student was in like the top table or whatever it was.
I think there's a couple of really interesting comments here. So Brandon says, is there a way to know if parents see the note on the story, i.e. do they see read receipts? Yes, you will see as a teacher, you will see read receipts. So you'll know when parents have read the story. Parents will get a notification whenever you post something to the class story. So they'll get a little push notification on their app, and I think eventually they'll get an email as well if they're using the website. So they'll get notified that you've posted something, and you as a teacher will get a read receipt to know which parents have seen your posts and when. So you know exactly who's engaged. And Jennifer says, it would be great for older students and maybe younger ones to help write the class story. Students could write the highlights and it can be posted by the teacher with credit given to the students. That's a fantastic idea. I love it.
Yep.
It's very cool.
Totally. Really good way to encourage writing and like it's kind of been introducing blogging to students, which is really cool. I know a lot of teachers use WordPress or Weebly and they're teaching students how to blog. It would be really neat to have students like practice doing posts.
Yeah, it's actually really important, I think, to for students to have like a bit more of a say in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Giving students that chance is really cool, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for all the ideas.
Cool.
This is awesome. Any other thoughts or questions? Sorry this didn't work beforehand, but now we're learning how to do Google Meet.
Tech issues. I think we'll do another one soon, right? Yeah.
We'll probably do one in a few weeks, and you can ask more questions.
Yes, Victoria, groups can overlap, so you can put multiple students in multiple different groups. You can have multiple sets of groups if you wanted to. If you're grouping for one thing and a different thing. Absolutely. All right, thank you all.
Yay!
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Yeah,
be on the lookout for the next Hangout. Now that we have a hang of things and we know how to like read your questions, the next one will be a little more successful. This was pretty good.
Cool.
Wait, hold on. I'm reading from Holly real quick.
great story.
That's
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Posting top student points, spotlighting a particular student.
Yeah.
Cool. This is great. Thank you so much for all your feedback. This was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
And you know how to get a hold of us. We're available. And we really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Great talking to you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.